Hey, Zen, this is second time now with Lazy Goldmaker.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, last time it went like totally not the correct way.
But this time it's obviously gonna work perfectly, no issues at all, knock on wood.
What do you have to say, Lazy, about it?
Well, I mean, hopefully...
we don't care. Let's start the show!
I'm out.
Hello everyone, welcome into the third episode of the Auction House podcast. We're back again for yet another episode. We have some exciting things to talk about today. We got the Lazy Goldmaker on, and we obviously have Jack as well.
Lazy, how are you doing, man?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Doing fine. We're gonna start with the obvious, like always, the token price. Let's see.
The token price has been interesting. It had this week it had a little bit of a peak. I don't remember exactly the day. I feel like it was like maybe Tuesday. Wednesday. It had a peak where it went on EU all the way up to a little over 170k.
It was on the 19th of January.
Okay, so that's what, Tuesday?
Yeah.
So what that is we had a peak on the token, which is the highest it's been, I think, ever since the expansion came out. Quite sure. Which is interesting because we're not really 100% sure why it had that peak. The thing that we did talk about is it could be because it's actually on like a full 2 months after the expansion released. So it could be the fact that people are getting new game time there on that day.
Yeah, that could be
but other than that, it's hard to say what it could be. It's also not that big that high of a peak. It's just a little more than usual.
The awkward thing is that on NA nothing happened. It was just EU.
Yeah, nothing happened at all.
Nothing special on the NA happened. So
there's more gold makers on EU. That's like kind of what it is.
I'm not sure about. Okay, I trust you.
I'm 100% sure. There's not more. We're better.
Big Lazy, what happened with the token price on the EU last Tuesday?
I have no idea. I don't even pay attention to it.
Nothing special actually gonna happen upcoming weeks for the token price. I think the upcoming week at least.
Yeah, I don't see any big changes. We obviously have BlizzCon coming up on the 19th of February or whatever it is, but it's free. The online version. Obviously, they're probably gonna have something that they're gonna sell, and whatever announcements that they do make, it might also do something. But before then, I don't see anything big.
Well, there's obviously gonna be some pre-purchases people can do for, like, I think Overwatch, maybe Overwatch 2 that's coming out this year.
Maybe some Diablo news.
Well, yeah, but it would seem reasonable that people can pay for Overwatch 2 when they announce it on the BlizzCon.
Probably, yeah.
It'll be on the 19th and the 20th of February.
Well. I guess we'll see.
You both gonna watch it? You and Lazy?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. It's a Friday and Saturday. I'm definitely gonna watch it.
We cannot do that.
Of course we can, Jack.
We have to record a podcast.
Well, of course we do, but not, BlizzCon is longer than the podcast. Just miss a little bit of it, catch up on it. It's fine.
Gumdrops recently twittered about an interview.
He posted a piece of information from a presentation at a Splunk conference. I've never heard of it before, but it's a very interesting piece of information on the World of Warcraft economy. And like the two top things that he posted was 21 billion gold moves around the WoW economy every single day and is through around 10 million transactions.
It's a lot.
That's insane. I did not expect it was that high.
Did I?
Like, I thought it was high, but 21 billion every day? It's insane.
Did some calculation on it. Give us some information about it.
Well, if we think of it in terms of token value per se, to just give a little bit of perspective, if we have 21 billion gold, if we turn that into token value, like the amount of Blizzard balance that you can get from a token, on EU, it would be 1,674,846. So 1.7 million euros in tokens every single day get moved in transactions.
That's insane.
Which is the same as 128,000 months of game time.
That's a long time you can play then.
I mean, you're playing forever. Longer than you're going to be alive.
I think so as well. And what about the NA?
Well, on NA, it's 2.7. It's $2,692,000 in WoW token value. And it's the same as 179,000 months of game time. So it's it's absolutely insane. And just to keep that in mind, that's every day. Obviously, the number probably goes up and down a little bit, but it's absolutely insane how much that is.
That is really nuts. Don't forget our guest, Lazy. Again, welcome to the show. Straight into the podcast, I'm going to talk about something, your YouTube videos. This is your second video already on the road to 100 million gold. Why did you want to start a YouTube channel with it?
So I've done challenges in the past where I've done written updates on my blog, essentially. But for one of the 30 days to a token challenges, I made update videos for my patrons. And I realized pretty quickly into the road to 100 million challenge that there's so much information and so much that's much easier to show visually by actually like dragging up graphs and showing stuff on the screen. So I thought it would make a good basis for a video series. So then I decided to just start putting some videos out there and see how they do, essentially, and try to just improve them as I go. Yeah, that's sort of the idea behind it. At least we're 2 videos out now. The next one is coming tomorrow. So that's going to be nice. Of course, they're on a 1-week delay compared to when I record them, because they are in early access for all my patrons. They get everything I post to YouTube as well 1 week ahead of time.
And people can watch these new series on YouTube. If you just search on the Lazy Goldmaker, you will find it straight away, and you can start with the first or second week, or maybe the third week he gonna do tomorrow. For patrons, where can they go to? What's the address?
The Patreon is patreon.com/the Lazy Goldmaker. I also have I have my own podcast, The World of Goldcraft, as I call it, where I just talk about gold making for 20 minutes. And starting this week, that's going to be a live show on Twitch, and then also the VODs will be on YouTube. So I'll start coming out. I'm recording the first episode on Thursday this week. So make sure you stop by for that.
Where can we find you on the OnlyFans?
That's onlyfans.com/jacksfeet.
Wait, if that's gonna be a thing, man, I gotta be loaded. Holy crow. Okay, so you're now a YouTuber, you're a blogger, you're a Twitch streamer, you're a podcast host on your own podcast, on Spotify. Next.
What's next? I don't know. World domination.
I mean, going into full world domination is quite a big step.
Yeah. So we'll start with 100 million gold, hopefully, and then we'll see from that. I don't have any plans for any new platforms. I'm on all of them soon, so we'll see what I can make out of it.
By the way, I assume all the links, all the info can be found on the Lazy Goldmaker website, right?
Yeah.
www.lazygoldmaker.com.
Yeah, thelazygoldmaker.com.
The Lazy Goldmaker. Something else. in your latest video, you also talk about breaking even on the legendaries.
Yeah, and we're now, of course, one reset later, and I'm not just breaking it even. I'm raking it in. I made I got 5.2 million in sales on the reset day this week, so I'm now up like 4.5 million from last week in liquid gold.
It's a lot. I saw it, by the way. I was on the Twitch channel while you were streaming, and yeah, there was an insane mailbox. It was really crazy. Even after you were done, like you checked one more time your mailbox, and there was like another 700k in it.
Yep. I had today was another like 1.3 million after reposting last night, and then not reposting at all during the day today. So it's a crazy market.
Going back to the whole 21 billion gold being transferred over the economy, I looked into it a little further. They're also doing a lot of work towards finding gold sellers.
What do you mean?
Let me pull it up here.
They're tracking the relationships, like who are people trading with on a regular basis, probably like transaction sizes as well. So I'm sure that like some of my accounts, my two accounts might have been like something they checked, because I send a lot of gold back and forth between my two accounts on a regular basis, and then they realized, okay, they're registered to the same guy and he's just sending gold back and forth, and that's completely benign and fine.
Yeah, it seems that they're also going into people that are posting things on the auction house for abnormal prices. So posting like vendor items for 400, 500,000. And people that do that often, it seems like they have like data to blacklist people and monitor accounts because of this, which is really interesting. But I also love it.
The FBI.
Pretty much. I mean, it's nice because they treat the data like they're supposed to, you know. It's pretty comforting that we can see that they're trying their best to work against gold sellers, even the most like hidden ways of trying to avoid their detection systems, right?
I hope they would invest like more in avoiding bots, like they do now with these kind of things, like checking the transactions. If they just could focus a bit more on the bots, I think that would help a lot as well.
Oh yeah. But we'll see what happens with that.
Lazy, because you're a lot in the legendary market. I heard a couple of people say on their server, like, okay, now I'm noticing the legendary market is like slowing down. It's less profitable. Even a couple of people I know, like Mencius, said like, okay, I'm gonna quit for now the legendary market on my server because it's not that interesting anymore. Is that the same happening on your server because you're on a very big server on the EU?
No, I don't feel the slowdown much. Of course, profit margins vary a lot. It's very reset prone. Like there's a lot of people doing resets when they notice something is too cheap. So actually, like my minimum price was probably a little bit too low. I've sold a lot of stuff to people just resetting the markets, but it was still a profit for me, so I'm okay with it. So I don't really see it slowed down that much. I'm actually surprised because it seems like a lot of people are rolling alts. And something I also noticed, I think on the WoW Reddit, people were discussing legendaries. And there were a lot of people who had just like gotten multiple rank 1s or 2s for their character and prioritized getting more legendary powers available rather than leveling them up, which means that there's still like significant amount of demand coming for rank 3 and 4 legendaries from those people. And even then, I'm still seeing large sale rates. But of course, if you compare it to like week 1 profits, which were a little bit on the crazy side, then you might be disappointed. But it's still something that can very reliably, very quickly generate 20 to 40% profit per item, which is generally where crafting markets tend to be.
We often see a lot of messages. Maybe Zen also sees them in his Twitch channel. People come in and say, okay, is it too late to start in the legendary market? And I think that's not at all the question you should be asking, right?
No, I mean, when it comes to legendary crafting, obviously it depends on what kind of server you're on, but I feel like the places where you're gonna find the least amount of profit is full pups, or maybe even some medium pups. But there's still lots of gold to be had, especially if you're not only buying enough to craft 1, 2, 3 pieces of the rank 4, and you invest very early on into being able to craft what you need, then you're still going to be able to see profit. I think what it also goes down to, I think there's a lot of people that don't do manual calculations and just expect TSM to do everything.
Yeah, for sure. I'm surprised continuously at some of the profit margins on the rank 2s and 3s. A lot of them are profitable still, now that we've moved through all of the stuff that people made to level their professions. So I don't think it's too late at all, but you need to focus on the highest sale rate recipes for sure, because the difference is huge. Like I usually craft about 3 of each, and for the most in-demand recipes like Shadowghast Greaves, the plate legs, for instance, they just sell out. And I have to recraft the 3 or even 5 the next day, and they're going to sell out all of the rank 2s, 3s, and 4s.
You gotta need deep pockets to start with it. That's the thing, right?
Well, it kind of depends, right? If you want every single rank 4, or maybe even rank 3s, that's obviously going to cost a lot, especially if you do multiple professions.
I assume that most of the people want that because they want to get ready for 9.1. That we're maybe gonna hear about at the next upcoming BlizzCon.
I mean, yeah, potentially. I think it's gonna be a long time before we get a new patch, but it's hard to say it's hard to say how they're gonna go about the legendary crafting system in future patches, because we don't know if they're gonna add new materials or they're gonna require the same materials but just a higher amount because we go up in a rank. It's hard to say.
One thing is for sure, and I think you both agree with that, the ranks will go up.
Absolutely, they have to, because we need high item levels, so they have to go up.
Question is like, what's gonna make the rank goes up? Like, do we need more materials? Are there gonna be new materials? Are they gonna be like bind on pickup stuff? I don't hope they're gonna do that, because that's gonna be a pain in the butt.
Yeah, well, we're gonna find out. That's it. It's hard to predict, I feel like, because they've never done anything like this before.
I think you hope to see, Lazy, what they will do for the next ranks.
I don't know. I think that if they do the same thing, that would probably be nice, because now I have a good idea about what players are gonna, or how players approach the system in terms of the people crafting, and how you can make a profit utilizing that information. I don't expect a new material this patch. I doubt we'll get that, because I don't think we'll get new zones in the first content patch. And they usually don't add materials without a new zone.
Well, flying. Do you guys think we're gonna get flying already in 9.1?
Nope.
No, I don't think so. We didn't get flying until Nashatar and BFA, which was the second patch.
Well, the system is not going to be the same again, because they told us, Blizzard told us, like, there's not going to be a path of something or a part of something.
Pathfinder, but we're still gonna have flying for renown, so it's not a Pathfinder, but it's still content that is gated. Obviously, there's a fine catch-up system, but I don't know. I don't think that they're gonna go away from the whole. I don't think we're gonna get flying that early. I don't think so. But one of the other things I wanted to ask about again still is how long we see like very high prices on BOEs. Do we think they're gonna hold all the way until we get the next raid, or are they gonna like gradually slowly drop down? Because obviously on full pups they're expensive, but they're going down in value.
Generally, pretty much every item is going to go down in value over time as it becomes just less useful. This is BOEs, this is materials, because the things you craft with materials are just less useful right now, because people have more gear to do raids with, so they don't need consumables as much. And the same thing holds true for gear and pretty much everything.
Yeah, but it's with what I've seen from a couple raiders on the realm that I play on is that they're much more open to making alts, and the amount of BOEs that sell is actually still very high. I was just wondering if they're gonna keep their pretty high value all the way up until the patch, or they're gonna like slowly drop. They're probably gonna slowly drop. It's just something I wanted to talk about because it's always BOEs are always a very interesting market to try and understand.
I'm gonna be fair. I totally skipped this for now, the BOE section. Sure, it doesn't seem that appealing to me, and that not because you cannot make gold with it, but because for me there's like a lack of information on what kind of BOEs are hot, and
That's what I'm saying. It's a tough thing to get into.
I can remember, and I know Lazy from this as well. We both made so much gold in Legion from the one-on-ones. That was such an easy market. A lot of people that got those BOEs didn't know the value of them. You bought them cheap and you sold them high. That's the thing you did. Like that was like Christmas for me.
Yeah, BOEs, as far as like flipping goes, I don't think they're particularly good this expansion. You can make some money, but not on the level of BFA or Legion. As far as like farming them to sell, the price is going to trend downwards. Even the people aren't as willing to spend gold gearing their alts as they are on their main for mythic progression or heroic progression or whatever. Like the initial first progression is more important to most people than the second character. So the prices are going to be lower, but they might be willing to buy more items for their alts if they have the gold, but not at the same tip-top level prices.
So Blizzard announced last year that broadcasting software wasn't allowed anymore for multiboxers. Multiboxers is still allowed, but you're not allowed to use the software anymore. How are we seeing this impact on the economy now?
It's very hard to say since we haven't really seen Shadowlands with multiboxing being a thing. But of course, it's going to be different. Like for me personally, I think it was a good change for the game. That's my opinion. I think that multi-box farming, in particular, gathering, and some of the and some of the standstill farms, they just meant that regular Joes, if you're just some nobody with one account trying to farm, you're going to be so inefficient compared to the top guys that you'll never be making decent gold.
When it comes to the whole multiboxing change, obviously they can't use input broadcasting software anymore. But even the fully legit multiboxers that still play the game manually, they still get reported. And because of the automated system that Blizzard has for banning people, a lot of the current multiboxers, there's not that many of them left that do it, in the allowed way. They still get banned because they get spam reported by people that think they're bots.
You know a bit more about multiboxing, Zen. How are they doing that now? Because they cannot use a software for it.
So they can still use a software for it as long as the actual software doesn't have a broadcasting or like input broadcasting software. So something that they used was ISBoxer, and the creator of ISBoxer, he made like a whole separate program without the input broadcasting software option.
What does it do then, the program?
So what it does is it just puts your WoW clients up in a neat layout so you can more easily see like 10 accounts or whatever.
Do you control them?
Yeah, you have to manually control them, but you can't do multiple actions on more accounts. You have to manually click on each one. So you can still do it, but it's way more annoying.
Like top alt, that kind of thing?
Yeah. So in a way where you would have to click once or twice for all the accounts to do something, now you have to click 10 times.
What's the negative side on this action?
It removed the part of the game that a lot of people obviously enjoyed. We can't say how big the multiboxing community was, but we know it's at least a little handful of people, and that's obviously sad. But for the overall game, I think it was a good change, because it was getting to the point where if you wanted to be fully efficient, if you weren't really, really, really good at flipping, or cross-server economies, you couldn't compete with these guys, as Lazy said. You know, you can't compete with somebody that can farm on 10 accounts if you only have one.
Yeah.
And the problem with it was that you also required, it required a stronger computer system. Like, you can't run 10 accounts if you have a potato PC. Like, it's just not going to happen. Yeah, it's an unfair way of playing the game. And also, when it's an MMORPG, obviously there's a lot of people that like to play the game solo. But if you play the game with yourself on 10 different accounts, it's like duplicating yourself, It's like, if we think from it from a standard player view, I get why so many people don't like the whole basic system around multiboxing. I get it.
I do think they could have, of course, just nerfed multi-box gathering and farming instead, which would have been so people could have used it input broadcasting for world PvP or whatever. If you want to run like 40 shamans and one-shot someone, if you could still do that. They could have done that by, of course, reverting the multi-tapping thing for gathering nodes, which would have been annoying for farmers. But I mean, people can live with that in Classic. They can compete for nodes, and if it's always just one person getting the node, then multi-box gathering is dead. You could do the same for mob farming as well, with just having the mob loot not scale with the number of people looting it, which is sort of a very weird change, to be honest. In modern WoW, if 8 people kill a mob, then it drops 8 times as much loot than if one guy kills it.
It's they made the change of the tags so more people could get quest rewards, so people could flow through the content faster. So it's like, I think it's an unintentional change to their, like, casual average player. But yeah.
I would have killed 2x4 farming as well if you changed the
absolutely 100%.
The loot scaling, which could be fine, could be bad. I mean, the market is going to adapt. Prices will adapt to whatever you can generate, and then you can just adapt the drop rates as well to make sure that any item is still reasonably decent or decent at the right level of effort needed to obtain it, which you can always just tune.
The way that I understood the reason that they made the change on how many can tag a mob, which, would scale the amount of loot that you can have, was because they wanted people to be able to complete world quest, normal quest, at the same time as somebody else. So they don't have to, stand around and wait until they get a tag. If 4 people already hitting a mob, they still get the chance to get their loot.
Let me interrupt in this, because we just talked about those farms, those 2x4 farms. I just popped up the Undermine Journal website, and I checked the Callousite again, and it's still dropping in amounts. And it dropped like from the 11th of January to now. It went from a 1.8 million amount to an 1 million amount. So it halved already in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I heard some people talk about Callousite being nerfed, but
I asked already Lazy as well, and he said like, okay, this has to do, of course, with the weekly reset, and that's correct. But now it has one course, like it's dropping. Be that they nerfed it, but nobody knows about it.
It's possible. We're still seeing the same drop, but from a lower peak this week than last. The prices are still low though, relative to what they were a week ago when the quantity was even higher. So I guess we'll see. Generally speaking, people always start posting about anything being nerfed, even when it's not nerfed.
Yeah.
So if it was actually nerfed, you'd expect the WoW economy to be literally overflowing with posts about it.
Actually, the price is now going up. Let me check the data for it.
Yeah, it's up a little bit since the bottom yesterday for the price, at least on the region, or on Tuesday. At least that's the region prices I'm looking at. But yeah, it's very hard to see any trends. If you look at specific realms, then there's might be a trend or not. But it does seem like there's less available for sale right now. I guess we'll see once the quantities start recovering as people finish restocking for the next reset over the weekend. Then we'll have a better basis for claiming anything, but I have no idea how the farms are doing because I don't do the farms.
Well, what it seems like from the people that I know that farm actively is the drops haven't changed at all, but a lot of people are reporting after they've done 30 minutes, maybe an hour of farming, a certain spot for skinning, and 30 minutes and maybe to an hour is not really going to do much. It's not really going to tell that much. You could have just been unlucky with drops. You could have been unlucky with the amount of spawns because there's been a lot of competition at the place that you were at. But as you said, if something was for sure nerfed, it would have been swamped on Reddit. We would have known about it for sure.
I just did a little check as well on the NA, and that's the opposite. Not huge, but now there's a small increase again in the quantity. Prices there are still dropping. Only on the EU, the quantity is dropping, and the price went up in 2 days from 116 gold average to 123 gold average. Huge, but there's a change. And I'm not talking about the price, but the most interesting thing I think is the quantity. Rapidly on the EU. Zen, you're by the way full focus on Titan Steel. How is that going?
Well, it's actually going pretty well. I've seen it's. I will say though, Titan Steel moves very differently on a lot of servers, so it's hard to say if you're going to be able to do anything that's even close. But in the last week and a half, I've been able to sell around 20-30 Titan Steel pieces for 2,600 gold. So 2,600. That's after the auction house cut, which is very, very high.
To let people know, you're on a full pop server.
Yeah, I play on Terran Mill, if any of you know that server, but that is a full pop. And there's a lot of people that play on this server. Titan Steel specifically is used for a bunch of crafted transmog. And
the motor mount for the Horde side and the Alliance side.
The reason that we see a rise in some of these old world materials, as we've talked about the last couple of podcasts, is obviously because a lot of people are focusing on Shadowlands right now. There's a lot of gold to be made in Shadowlands, so a lot of people are not looking back and seeing what there's potential for in old expansions, which is completely fair and understandable. And we can also say that there might be a potential change because we don't have, hundreds of multi-boxers out there farming all the old world zones as well. We can't really know for sure if that's going to be the case for the whole expansion, but I feel like that's something we're going to be able to see once we get a couple more months into the actual expansion.
Lazy, do you have any old content you're like selling or buying on the auction house or using?
Just some of the old world mounts that I craft. The Vial of the Sands, I've had that recipe since the launch day of Legion. I got the recipe like an hour before Legion launched on my last farming session during the pre-patch. So that one's a consistent seller. I also do Sky Golems, and I've been doing a lot of the ATV mount from BFA. I scrapped a bunch of bracers at the tail end of BFA, so I had about 1,000 expulsum that I can turn into ATVs, and just whenever I have ATVs, they sell so fast, it's crazy.
Interesting market at the moment to start in the ATV, or would you recommend to wait?
I mean, if you'll have to scrap bracers, so hopefully you enjoy the bracers for Astaroth mechanic. But it's really good. I think my profit margin, my crafting cost is somewhere in the like 2,000, 3,000 gold range, and they're selling for 7,500 as fast as I can post them almost.
sell very quickly, but you also have to farm the recipe, right?
Shouldn't you be able to solo it, most likely?
Yeah, it's easier. It's
Recommended to flip them if there's like a market with like 5 of them on them.
Yeah, that's a possibility. It's very annoying to craft, but on higher pop realms, there's probably not the volume is probably high enough, and there are people like me or even other people I know. There are people I've talked to who had literal guild banks full of ATVs before Shadowlands launched.
I think the risk is like you need to know how much people have in stock, even if it's on a low or medium pop realm. Yeah, I think if you know that kind of information, then you know what to do. You could give it a try. It's not that expensive, I think. I saw it on one of my low pop servers. They were going for like 5-6k each, and I bought 6 of them. They got reposted for 10k now, 3 more, and now I'm selling just selling them for double the price. I'm not paying too much attention at the moment, but I think the trick is to find out how much people have that in stock and how much they still can craft. The Great Sea Ray, I have 2 of them now. I bought them both for 80k, and the region value is like 150k. And so far, I'm the only seller.
Yeah, it's also because the Great Sea Ray is very hard to get now. They nerfed it early on in BFA. It was very, very easy to get for some time, and then people were selling them for 10, 20k. I remember, and then they nerfed the drop rate, so it's worth a lot more now.
You also have a couple of them?
Yeah, I have a couple of all of the world drop mounts from BFA. Not been my best investment so far. I sold some of them like during the pre-patch and just around before launch, but since then it's been very slim. I've had a lot more success with the Island Expedition gear, which is probably like my best, one of my best investments ever. I bought a bunch of the Island Expedition Transmog on many different realms just before Shadowlands launch, and the prices are through the roof.
I feel like for me, it's completely different. I didn't do too many islands because I wasn't super interested in it. I looked at the Island Expedition gear, but I never decided to invest in it. But BFA mounts has been probably one of my better investments. I made a ton of gold also in Shadowlands on it, so it's been different. I still have many left.
I'm still checking out the island gear, especially the Duskwood top hat. Duskwood top hat, I have to say. I was already in that market, not fully, and then Hikon showed me he was full focus in that market, and then like something hit me and like, okay, I'm gonna do the same. And I noticed I'm gonna made a lot of gold now from selling those. Now slower, but those high price items, top hat, yeah. If you can find them cheap, buy them. You can definitely make a good amount of gold out of them.
I have a top hat, at least on one realm, and I think I bought it for, I don't remember how much I bought it for, but I did notice that the last time I posted it with my normal flipping operation, it was posted for something like 500,000 gold, which is crazy to me.
So what did you pay for it?
I don't remember. Maybe 50k? I don't remember.
Yeah, around the end of BFA, they were being posted for 50k on Turnmill.
The most interesting thing for me is, or what I've found that I've taken advantage of, is generally speaking, gear markets, finished items, for whatever reason, is always less competitive than consumables and enchants. I've always found that on every realm, even in Classic, it was the same. I wonder if there's this like belief still among many people who want to get into gold making that consumables is where it's at, and alchemy is just like this crazy repost all day market. And then I have like the Crafter's Mark II recipe, which I'm sure many people have now after how long the MA rep has been out. And I'm still getting like 3 times crafting cost and selling items almost as fast as I can post them without cancel scanning ever.
I feel like what it comes down to when it's gear crafting is it usually gets overlooked because the hot commodity items that everyone absolutely uses because of raids and Mythic Plus is all the consumables, right? Obviously, gear sells well, as we found out, but I think that's kind of why. It's also like when we go into us as content creators, but also all the other gold makers that exist on YouTube and Twitch and whatnot, what usually gets talked about is all the consumables first.
Of course, people will never stop needing consumables, but people never stop leveling new alts or gearing new characters either. It's for me, I haven't actually made significant gold with alchemy on retail since Legion. The last couple of expansion, it's just been too competitive and too many people who are willing to cancel scan significantly more than I am personally willing to, because I hate spending my time cancel scanning. So if I have to cancel scan a large amount to make money on a market, then I'd rather do something else with my time.
And that's what I did for the first 2 weeks of Shadowlands. I made many millions on alchemy because I sat on the auction house and canceled and reposted for 10 hours a day.
I mean, it works really well. Absolutely. And for the people who can be bothered doing that, then more power to them. They'll be making gold that I wouldn't be able to make, or I would be able to perhaps, but not willing to. And that's fine by me. I'll find my markets where I don't have to do that to make a lot of profit. With the old auction house, I could still make tons of gold with alchemy or during Legion just by overcutting and using weird stack sizing. And on like reset days, then people would just like, okay, there's 1,000 stacks of 1, or I can buy lazy gold stacks of 5 and save some time. And it's 30 gold more per flask, whatever, I'll pay it. Saves me clicks.
Still miss that system. I still miss that system. Really. If I could ask one thing to Blizzard, bring that system back. I like the UI, how the new auction house looks. I want to sell in stacks. Let me sell in stacks. Maybe now I can sell stacks like I said before. Maybe I can do it with a discount.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but we all know why they made this change. It's for convenience, and it's for the average casual player. So they have it as easy as possible when they open the auction house. If they want 422 pieces, they just type in 422 and then they get that.
There's also the performance side, though. The old auction house was apparently a piece of spaghetti code behind the scenes, literally barely holding together. And with the current system, there's significantly less variables to track. They just need to track the quantity at any given price rather than the quantity and the number of stacks and how many items are in the stack and the price. So they just have less variables to store. And I think that's also one of the main motivating factors. And then people just cancel scan too much and they have to throttle us.
The last thing I want to talk about, guys, and I both talked to you about it. I have a feeling TradeSkillMaster, the team, is working on TSM 4.11. It has been silenced on their site. Gandras has posted a couple of things about TSM, like the short market value price. It's a 3-day market value price. We also talked about a guidance website he bought the domain about. Do you guys think they're working at the moment on the 4.11?
I think they're enjoying the expansion and chilling. I don't know. I have no idea. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
I mean, of course, they've been updating the add-on continuously for years, so I'm sure they're working on the next version as well. The question is if it'll be as big of a change as 4.10 was. They have not really pushed any changes yet for a lot of stuff that's really missing for Shadowlands professions. Like there's no support for optional reagents or base legendary crafting or anything.
Yeah, those are the things I'm missing as well in it, yeah.
Hopefully they put something out to support those systems, because that would be very nice.
They have to, because it's one of the key elements in TradeSkillMaster, and I think they're just figuring out how to imply that system in their current system. My thoughts was they're like rebuilding the whole craft system. That's my thought. I'm hoping they're gonna put in some more information in it, like sell rate or whatsoever. Not just the prices on the browse part when you're gonna do your shopping, but also show them shows the sell rates as flippers. That can be very interesting and very useful to use. I mean, the more info, the better.
So like more tool tips when you're like browsing for things to.
No, like you can already see the information on the tooltip, but now I want to like have a column that shows me the sell rates on certain things.
Oh, okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
I don't have to hover over all the items to check the sell rate.
more convenience.
Yeah, but those are like, think about a daily stock trader. He also watches information and he bases his trades on that, and I think that's very important to give that simplicity in the system.
But Jag, this is just a game.
I know. Talking about the game, how much money again is there involved daily?
Yeah, you know, I mean, if we put EU and US together, it's probably like $5 million or something that gets moved around.
Just a game.
Yeah, it's just a game, dude.
I think we finally could record the show with Lazy Goldmaker.
Imagine that it actually worked. I'm happy.
Hey, Lazy, where can they find you?
Yeah, my home is thelazygoldmaker.com. That's where that's the main hub, the website where I currently post guides 2 days a week, and you can also find always links to the latest YouTube videos. My Twitch channel is Twitch TV/LazyGoldmaker, where I stream Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays, generally from 8 p.m. Central European time. And then I have my YouTube channel. Just search for the Lazy Goldmaker on YouTube and you'll find it. And my Patreon, where you can support me, patreon.com/the Lazy Goldmaker.
Very nice. We actually have an interesting piece, not an interesting, but an exciting piece of information. We're going to start posting the podcast on YouTube, and it's going to be on YouTube a day later than this. So it'll be out on Sundays on YouTube, where you guys can watch it if you're not a user of Spotify. And if neither or, and you want yet another option, then you can go on to auctionhousepodcast.com, and there you can also listen to the podcast. So there's 3 options.
Basically, if you're now already listening on YouTube, you already noticed that we are on YouTube. By the way, Zensivel, you just released also a new video for the copper to 100 million.
Just 1 million, but yes, I did release a new video on it. It's an exciting series to run. It's really fun to do.
Where do you find that?
It's Sensible on YouTube.
Nice.
Sensible on everything, everywhere.
The links are also on the website, on the auctionhousepodcast.com. You can find there the links. Also, don't forget Twitch TV Zensivel, so you can watch him live and insult him in any way you want.
Yes, please bully me.
A little bit update from my side. If you didn't see a lot of new content on my website, it has to do with some technical problems on my website side. I'm working ASAP on it. I'm not a technical person when it comes to coding, but somebody's looking at it for me. So I hope soon or later it will be fixed and I can post more content on it. Something else is I still have 2 spots left for the coaching, the live one-on-one coaching for TradeSkillMaster and gold making. If you want to sign up for that, it's totally free. So you can sign up on my website, www.golddipper.com, and there's at the guide menu, there's like a page for it, TradeSkillMaster and gold making coaching. There's a form on it, sign up. There's some rules, read them before you're gonna sign up. And I'm gonna teach you, if you're like a new gold maker or you're like an advanced gold maker and you want to take it a step up, I'm gonna show you the ways, or I'm gonna help your mindset in a way that you can make maybe more gold or not. That's up to you, actually. We also want to thank Evelyn.
Evelyn is my girlfriend, but she's been working on helping for all the graphics that you guys are seeing, the website, and she's doing a really good job. Also, if you're listening on YouTube, you're seeing like the little graphic we have with the sound wave going in the middle. It is all done by her. She's been a very awesome help, and we appreciate it very much.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Evelyn. Guys, I want to thank you. Sensible, I want to thank you for your time. Lazy, I want to thank you for your time and for this second episode. Because, last time it was like a shit show.
Should have been the second. Now it's the third.
It's the third. So, thank you for your time again. And
thanks for having me.
I hope to see you maybe in another episode of the Auction House podcast.
Yeah, hopefully.
Guys, thank you for listening. If you're on YouTube, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, set a comment, maybe you have a question for us about Goldmake. Your last words for the show.
I like trains.
I like peeled bananas. Guys, thank you. See you on episode 4 next Saturday. See ya!
See ya!
I'm out.